Texoma's #1 rated newscast, broadcasting live from 12 studios. This is News 12 at 5 p.m.
Welcome to News 12 at 5. I'm Maureen Kane.
And I'm Dan Thomas. Fire ripped through an entire dock at Highport Marina this morning.
News 12's Kristen Weaver is live at the dock where it all happened. And Kristen, what have we learned tonight?
Yeah, guys, you can see that everything out here right now is just ash and rubble at the Highport Marina. But just a couple of hours ago, it was a completely different story. I want you guys to take a look at some of the video that we shot earlier this morning. We're told by witnesses that a worker was on the dock working on a boat today when he yelled for a fire extinguisher. Then a boat burst into flames and began to spread rapidly. Firefighters tell us there have been no serious injuries, and they were able to save 3 boats. However, nearly 20 boats and multiple jet skis are completely ruined. Witnesses we spoke with say it has been disheartening.
And you just feel very helpless. I feel very sad. I'm very glad everyone is safe. But at the same time, a lot of people lost a lot of stuff that is very important to them and a lot of livelihood.
Yeah, and even though, of course, the fire is out right now, officials and crews still have a lot to work on, especially environmentally. News 12's Abby Maynard is here to explain kind of the other implications of all of this. Abby, tell us what you've learned.
Yeah, that's right, Kristen. Right now, the work is just beginning for emergency management here on scene. Even though this fire was very difficult to put out, the environmental risk and that impact for the community is their biggest concern right now. With the location of the fire on a dock and the flammable materials involved, it made it hard for responders to get the water onto the boats to put out the fire. But as the fire burned for nearly 6 hours today, a dark plume filled the air. You could see that in video from earlier today. And that is what emergency management says is their biggest concern right now. Now, the TCEQ is on scene here, testing the air quality to determine what impact the high amount of burned fuel will have.
People have all kinds of fuel on the boats, and then they have other kinds up to and including maybe propane for cooking when they're on the dock. So there's a mixture of things, and some of that is still being assessed.
Now you can see behind me the booms that they laid down in the water behind me to keep that fuel and oil in this area to make sure it's not spreading into the other parts of the lake. But the main thing right now emergency management wants people to know is to stay clear of the area. We'll have the results from the TCEQ as soon as we get them. But right now, make sure you're staying safe and stay clear of the area as much as you can. Live at Highport Marina, Abby Maynard, News 12.
All right, yeah, huge fire out there, huge plume of smoke. You know, I was driving into Sherman this morning around 9:30, 10, and I was like, what's on fire? You were out there even before the firefighters got there.
Yeah, I managed to get there just a couple of minutes before they arrived. I pulled out of my driveway, saw that huge plume, called into the newsroom, and right away they knew that it was a dock on fire. Saw it from our Tanglewood Tower cam, caught it live all morning long there. It was alarming to me because I've got family and friends who have boats out there, concerned for their safety, obviously, and their property. Here's what I saw a few minutes after I got to Highport, figured out what was going on, posted this to my Facebook page. For people that know their way around Highport here, that is U-Dock right now. I would say that every boat in there is likely a total loss. Yeah, I drove down there, got there just a few minutes ahead of the fire crews. I could hear what sounded like shotguns going off every few minutes. I assume that was the gas tanks exploding. Didn't take long, though, for the firefighters to get there, get it surrounded. They started putting water on it immediately. And I should say the staff at Highport and MarineMax did just an amazing job getting nearby boats to safety. Spoke to a maintenance worker who was on the boat where it started. He was shaken up, as you can imagine. He had the hair singed off of his arms. Otherwise, though, he was okay. And really, looking at those pictures, it's hard to believe, but there were no major injuries, Maureen.
Yeah, just amazing, and we're all grateful for that. And it wasn't just Texomans, as you see in the video, pulling in there and watching this. A bunch of people saw this. 623,000 people watched those flames live on our Tower Cam feed on Facebook. This video shared over 8,000 times, ultimately reaching about 2.9 million people online. By now, those numbers could have grown, but millions of other people saw this on video on news stations across the country today. So, of course, we will continue to follow with this story. New details, though, this evening in the death of an 18-month-old who was run over last night. The Carter County Sheriff's Office says just after 9 last night, children were playing outside a home on Mount Washington when a car pulled into the driveway running over the toddler. The child's name has not been released. Sheriff Chris Bryant says their prayers and thoughts are with the family.
Well, a Texas man drowned at Turner Falls early this morning. Police Chief Dan Cooper says 34-year-old Orlando Guerrero went missing around 2:30 this morning. Emergency responders located his body around 4 a.m. Cooper says Guerrero and his friend were swimming near the main waterfall after hours because they were camping with family. Cooper says that he suspects Guerrero slipped and fell and was pushed by those fast-paced currents. Cooper tells us there are lifeguards on duty during the day, and there were signs up warning people about swimming without lifeguards. And swimmers take a huge risk by swimming at night.
Officers, once they make the rounds, if they see anybody after hours, especially after dark, we advise them they need to leave the area just for their safety.
Well, Cooper tells us this is the first drowning in the summer, but he hopes that people will become more cautious. Certainly hope that they learn a lesson there. And 2 people died after their trip to Turner Falls on Monday when their SUV carrying 6 people rammed into the back of a semi-truck near Purcell. The driver of the SUV, 40-year-old Aaron Van Horn, died at an area hospital. 2 boys, ages 10 and 11, died at the scene. An Oklahoma City station confirmed this morning that a 4th victim, a 13-year-old girl, has also died. 2 others, a 13-year-old girl, were also critically injured, and a 7-year-old girl was treated and released with no major injuries. Troopers say traffic was stopped because of construction, and there was no evidence that that van tried to stop before hitting the semi. The semi-truck driver was not hurt.
A Cook County woman is dead after she crashed her car early this morning. Troopers say Melissa Delishaw was driving south on FM 678 near Callisburg around 5 a.m. Investigators say the 48-year-old lost control of the car and crashed into a ditch. The car caught fire and Delishaw was pronounced dead at the scene. Sleepiness may have played a role in that crash. A man is in critical condition after his truck crashed into a train last night. It happened just before 8 p.m. at the Lone Oak Railroad crossing south of Valley View. Troopers say Stephen Gunther was driving west and did not stop for a northbound train. The 56-year-old was flown to a Plano hospital with life-threatening injuries.
A train was already on the tracks northbound. The driver failed to stop and crashed into the side of the train.
DPS says the railroad arms were down at the time of the crash. A worker with BNSF tells us trains typically travel around 55 miles per hour at that crossing.
All right, time to get a check on the weather here. Definitely the highest heat indexes we've seen this week. Chief Meteorologist Steve Lenore is right on top of it. Steve, what's going on?
Well, an upper level high is right on top of us. That's one reason we have this very strong sinking motion that is creating this heat. And in fact, I saw heat indexes as high as 110 today in Texoma at Sulphur. Paris got to 108 heat index today. Air temperatures are 96 this hour Paris, 97 for you in Ardmore, and 96 Sherman and Denison. We factor in the humidity, though. It is really an uncomfortable day out there. In fact, dangerous heat. Heat index 107 now in Paris, one of the hotter ones, and it won't get any better tomorrow. Looking at really temperatures and heat indexes to be even a little hotter. By lunchtime tomorrow, already 92 degrees with a heat index of 103. When will this heat break? Got your weekend numbers when I come back.
Ada police are asking for your help to find a man wanted for sexual assault. Police say 29-year-old Jonah Garrison has an active warrant out, and his bond has been set at $250,000. Police urge anybody who comes into contact with Garrison not to approach him. If you see him or know where he might be, contact the Ada Police Department.
Well, the Minneapolis police officer who shot and killed an unarmed Australian yoga teacher refuses to talk about that deadly encounter. Minnesota investigators say a loud noise startled Officer Mohammed Noir's partner just before Noir shot and killed Justine Daman, a well-liked yoga instructor and life coach. According to the 911 transcript, Daman called to report hearing a woman possibly being assaulted. Noir and Officer Matthew Harity drove down an alley behind Daman's house with their squad car lights off, searching for a suspect. Harity told investigators that they were startled by a loud bang. Immediately after Daman approached the driver's side of the cruiser, Officer Noir shot Daman from the front passenger seat. Minnesota Governor Mark Dayton says the investigation is a top priority but should not tarnish the police force.
99.99% of the time they conduct themselves admirably and with restraint.
Well, since joining the force 2 years ago, Noir has had 3 complaints filed against him. 2 are pending. The third was dismissed without discipline. And last month, Noir and 2 other officers were sued for false imprisonment, assault, battery, and negligence for their alleged conduct during a welfare check.
O.J. Simpson could soon be a free man. A Nevada parole board will hear arguments tomorrow about whether to release the former football star from prison. Simpson is approaching the 9-year minimum of his 33-year sentence. He was convicted in 2008 of armed robbery, kidnapping, and assault with a deadly weapon. The parole board is not allowed to consider Simpson's murder trial in making its recommendations on Thursday. The parole board's decision will be carried live as a special report tomorrow afternoon right here on CBS 12.
It's very hot right now, very hot.
A fan drive for those enduring the Texoma heat without air conditioning. Why they especially need your help this year.
Plus, fear the mullet. How Oklahoma State Cowboys plan to attack the rest of the Big 12 this year, and it's not with scissors.